This is my full, honest review of the newest pack for The Sims 4 Crystal Creation stuff. I woke up at 5 this morning so I could finish this video, and I only got access to the pack last night, but I've played as much as I can in that time. I've basically been living and breathing crystals since yesterday. I mentioned that because EA did send me the pack early, but obviously I'm not being paid or anything to make this video or talk about this. They literally just gave me a game code. For the sake of transparency, as of recently, I do have a creator code with EA. So if you purchase any Sims packs on the EA app or on Origin and you use code lilsimsie at checkout, I will earn a 5% commission on that sale. You do not have to use my code, but if you're ever planning on buying a Sims pack, maybe this one, maybe an old one, I'd encourage you to use somebody's creator code, because then EA gets a little bit less money, they have to pay it to a creator instead, and you get to financially support a creator kind of for free because you were already gonna buy the pack. But with those disclaimers out of the way, let's talk crystal creations. So my goal today is to walk you through everything that comes in the pack, what I like, what I don't like, and then let you know whether or not I think it's worth buying. I am not some evil supervillain trying to trick you into buying a bad pack. I genuinely want you to get the most out of your money. I want you to have the tools to make that decision for yourself, and that's why I always make these review videos. So let's get into it, and I think the most logical place to start is in Create a Sim. I have sort of conflicting feelings about the Create a Sim in this pack because I do like it, but it just feels like it's not enough. And maybe I just don't really know what to expect out of stuff packs anymore because it's been so long and we're still kind of finding our footing again with these. But I actually laughed out loud when I opened Cast and it showed me one shirt. I always check the tops category first, and this was not a promising start. It's a cute shirt, but it's just one shirt. Feminine Frame Sims did get a little bit more than this. We've got the one top, we've got 4 dresses, and they're actually really nice dresses as well. And we also got a single skirt and a pair of leggings. These are kind of cute too. We don't really get that much stuff like this anymore. I'm sorry about Naked Stanley. I know it's uncomfortable, but Masculine Frame Sims got 4 tops, and these are nice too. I love this cardigan. They come in some kind of pretty like neutral and dark colors, but these to me are just fine. Maybe I'm wrong for this, but they all kind of feel like stuff that we already have in the game. Like none of this really stands out as being very special. I feel like I've seen this, for example, in Get Together already. There's no full body for Masculine Frames, but we did get a single pair of pants. There's also 3 pairs of shoes total in this pack. We have these kind of like Cinderella vibes crystal slippers. These are really weird, but I think in a fun way. I don't see myself using these very often, but like for a special sim on a special occasion, they're kind of a fun feature. And then we got 2 little pairs of boots, and these both have some kind of crystal accents on them too. There's like a gemstone on the side. These ones are a little bit more golden, I guess. They've got like metal accents. The top 2 are by default for feminine frames, and the bottom one is for masculine frames. They also did some really beautiful collab jewelry with a creator called Aretha B, so I can show you that ring kind of up close. Don't get me wrong, the rings and the jewelry in this pack are really, really nice. But weirdly, in Cass, we can see 2 rings. There's a plum bob ring and the collab ring. We've got 1 necklace, and this one is also from that collab. It's a stunning necklace. And then we have 1 pair of earrings. And that's the only jewelry that you can access in Cass straight away. All of the other jewelry, and there is a lot of it, is unlockable in game, so you won't see it immediately in Cass. We also got 5 hairs in total with this pack, but one of them is just a recolor. It's got some different swatches, so it's kind of like we just got 4 hairs. I'm actually really, really obsessed with the different color swatches on this hairstyle. I think this one is so cool. I like how they've been doing this recently. Obviously, I would prefer if we had like custom colors that we could do for hairs, but just given the Sims 4's limitations, I understand that it's not really possible. So I appreciate them giving us some kind of special hair colors from time to time, like with these. So we have this one shorter hair. We also have this longer, more curly hair that has a clip in the back. I'm not super pleased about this one. I wish that we could change the color of the clip, and that's not really a problem with this pack specifically. That's just a general issue with The Sims 4. The clip changes colors based on the hair, and that's kind of annoying because like what if I want my sim to not have a green and pink clip in her hair? But like too bad. If you want to have brown hair, you're stuck with that one, and that just makes me feel kind of weird. I wish there was some way that you could change it separately, but again, that's not the pack's fault. That's just kind of how The Sims 4 works. I love the clip in this one. This one is really cool. It's got like a crystal hanging out of the bottom. For some reason, this one has quite a few less swatches. It's mostly just gold and silver and like a couple different crystal colors. And then last, we also got this updo. It's kind of like a bun on the top of her head. Can you stop moving? And it has some rings in it too, so there's some jewels in this hair. I understand that it's the Crystal Creations pack, so I know why they're putting these things in the hairstyles. I just really, really wish I could customize it better. Like the purple swatch is rainbow, and that's fun. Like I like it sometimes, but I don't want to have that always. It's very limiting in what your style choices can be, but anyway, that's all of the adult cast. I also laughed out loud when I saw how little the kids got in game. There's no clothing or anything. It's literally just this bracelet and a pair of earrings, and it's a cute bracelet. It's this really adorable plum bob bracelet, and then they have some kind of cute stud earrings too. I wasn't really expecting a lot for kids out of this pack. I kind of figured that generally speaking it wouldn't be a ton of cast outside of just jewelry, but it's so funny when we get just two things. It's like such a small amount of stuff. None of the other age groups got anything. I also think that it's kind of weird that adult Sims don't have those same jewelry pieces because I like them. They're really nice. I love these stud earrings, but the adults don't have the same ones. I think that you can craft this bracelet, but I wish that we had the same stuff across casts. We'll get into that more later, but the crafting thing is an issue. And the kids can't actually wear any of the jewelry that you make, so they really don't have like anything as far as cast goes in this pack. In general, the cast isn't really all that impressive. I actually felt this way about Home Chef Hustle too, where it was all just kind of fine. Like it gets the job done, it's cute, but it's not a standout for me. This isn't the kind of pack that I would tell you is a must-have for cast, which is weird because it's a jewelry pack. I find that really disappointing because there is so much beautiful jewelry, but it's just not easily accessible. It is fun to have to like earn it through gameplay, but not everybody wants to have to go through all of that every time. Maybe you just want to make a sim for storytelling purposes. Maybe you just want to dress up a fancy sim real quick for your sim storyline and like make their evil rich mother-in-law, and you don't want to go through all the gameplay of making her the jewelry, but you want her to have it. Maybe you just want to play The Sims like a dress-up simulator, because a lot of people pretty much only play around in cast, and those people will not ever have access to this jewelry because you can't get it easily unless you actually play the game for a while. And I guess it makes sense because there are literally thousands of different combinations across all the different metals and crystals and styles, so the swatch thing would be next to impossible to add in to create a sim for us. I guess I just wish that with cheats you could see some of them, or like maybe one swatch of each. It is weird that it's a jewelry pack and by default you only see 3 pieces of jewelry in cast, and it just stinks that you can't access the best part of this pack easily, but we'll get into that more in a bit. Next, I want to talk about build mode. This is another one of those times where I feel like I'm still learning how much I actually expect out of a stuff pack because we just don't really have that much recent stuff to compare it to. I say that because a lot of the earlier stuff packs do not count. They are like horrible, worthless waste of money. I cannot sit here and compare luxury party stuff to Crystal Creations, but for comparison with a more recent pack that I deem to be the best of all the stuff packs, Paranormal Stuff comes with 38 items in build mode. Crystal Creations has 31. So it's got less stuff in total, and I think it also has less versatility. I swear half the items in this pack are display shelves, and I like them, but do I really need 5 separate tiny cabinets? So we've got this shelving by Blick Block that's like modular glass cabinets. We've got this kind of cute shelf. I've got this wooden cabinet. I've got this glass display cabinet, and I've got this standing display cabinet. So there's a ton of places to put your crystals and your cut gems and like all of the jewelry that you make. They also all come in pretty much the same matching wood swatches. There's some kind of cute colors too, like these nice deep purpley blue ones. But there are a couple things here that I see myself using all the time, specifically this bookshelf. So we got 2 versions. There's a plain one, and there's also a version that has a ladder attached. I think this is everybody's dream. I think we've all stared longingly at pictures of home libraries that have stuff like this. This is just so cool. They've really been upping their bookshelf game in The Sims 4 recently. I'm not super obsessed with the swatches, I gotta say. I'm not really loving the lighter wood color on the inside, but I'll take what I can get, and I do like this bookshelf a lot. And I appreciate them giving us 2 of them because you can use them kind of modular and not have like 4 ladders all next to each other because that would just be weird. I also love this new wallpaper. I was like in awe of this in the trailer. It's kind of shiny too. I don't know if you can tell, but the gold accents are like glistening a little bit. Most of the swatches are quite dark, but there's also some lighter ones that kind of have a subtle pattern to them. All of this like celestial stuff is gonna tie in so well with Realm of Magic and with werewolves. Like, look at this rug and tell me that it wouldn't go perfect with like those stained glass windows from Realm of Magic. And I just want to point something out quickly, okay? I know you all make fun of me for only ever building blue Suburbans. Let's count the swatches, all right? There's 2 brown, there's 2 red, 1, 2, 3, 4 blue, and then some creamy ones, white ones, and a black one. Everything comes in blue. Everything in this game is blue. It's not my fault. They just keep giving us so many blue swatches on everything. That's why all my builds are blue. They're forcing me. We also have some kind of crystal related jewelry and clutter items as well. These are gonna be so cute for decorating with. I was thinking about this and I realized that I don't think we've ever had a jewelry box before. I think we've had a jewelry stand, but this is the first time we've gotten like decorative jewelry boxes. And I love the idea of putting these inside of your Sims bedrooms or like in their custom closets. It'll look cute on their dresser. And then these kind of fun toolboxes and like crafty supplies. This thing will be great for making a fake garage. You could put that like on the wall above your woodworking table. I like to try and think of different ways that it can serve more than one purpose. And I think that would work perfectly. Just generally speaking, it's so nice to have more clutter that is crafty for these sorts of arts and crafts rooms that we're making. We also got a new one of the yard sale tables. So this works just like the other ones from like Eco Lifestyle and stuff. We've got it in a handful of packs, but it's always a nice addition, especially if you don't have those packs, because you can sell anything on this. You don't have to just sell jewelry. It just works like a yard sale. Some other standouts for me are this plant, this nice plain console table, and this little wooden swivel chair, which I realize is a funny thing to pick as a favorite item. I just kind of like this. I think that's a nice chair. Of course, the best part of build mode is that Stanley Humphrey gets a mention. The description of the new gemology table, it's called the all-in-one gemology table by Humphrey Inc. And it says, we all have dreams of turning our hobbies into a flourishing business, and Humphrey Inc. knows that all too well. This absolutely made my life when I saw this. This is like the main item, the main table you use for all of the crafting in this pack. And first of all, this thing looks almost too good. The level of detail with the drawers and like the spotlight and everything, I find that so amazing. And it even lights up when you put it in a dark room. Look at the light on the table. Isn't that so cool? I was so impressed by that. And I'm not just saying that because it's honoring Stanley Humphrey. I swear I actually mean it. This is a really nice table. And I'm also just gonna point out that it comes in multiple shades of blue. I'll quickly show you a few of the other items because I think there's actually quite a few things in this pack that a lot of you will really, really like. We've got this kind of cool gem poster. There's a matching lunar alignment print that you can put on your walls, but that's kind of pretty much it. There's not really a ton of stuff in build mode. If you look in the debug cheats, you can access a lot of the jewelry in debug. If you go all the way into live edit, you can access a bunch more stuff. From here, you can grab a plain version of all of the different cut gems. It's like a blank white swatch of all of those things. It looks a little bit purple in the menu, but it shows up just plain white when you place it. And you can also access plain white versions of all of the jewelry. So you can see a lot of the different models of jewelry here. Just to give you an idea of the scale of this pack, these are all examples of all of the different types of jewelry that we have. There's a million necklaces, there's a million rings, we've got a ton of bracelets. The problem with these debug variants is that you can't actually do anything with them. Through my testing, I wasn't able to wear them. It would let me click on it and say like, wear this necklace, but it wouldn't actually put it on. I think that all of these debug variants are all like blank placeholders because you have all these modifiers that can be applied to them in game. So these don't work because they're not finished. I'm guessing that some folks will start uploading pre-made rooms with all of the different jewelry onto the gallery because people do that a lot with like different plants and collectibles, even paintings in the game already. But I think that that might be the only way to cheat it and get access to all of those extra jewelry pieces. So debug from this pack is kind of a flop. I guess you could use these blank versions as decorations in a build if you wanted to, but you can't actually do anything with them. We did get a couple new crystal and metal collectibles in this pack, and you can grab those from debug if you don't want to have to search for them. We've got silver, gold, and rose gold, and also jade, moonstone, and amber. And you can also grab like the skill books from debug too, but that's it. There's not much else in there. But moving on from all of that, let's go ahead and get into the big part of this pack with all of the gameplay features. I really like how they've made an effort to incorporate 2 lesser used base game features and turn them into something special here. Not much in the game makes use of those lunar phases, and most of the time there really isn't any reason Simon to work on collecting crystals, so I'm glad they pulled those in and did something with them. There is a new aspiration in this pack, and it'll kind of walk you through the majority of the gameplay. It's called Crystal Crafter, and the sim wants to cut gemstones, craft jewelry, and harness the power of crystals, and you can find that in the nature category. I have been complaining a lot recently about the newest aspirations being too small and too easy to complete and like not really functioning as a lifetime goal, but I was pleasantly surprised by this one because it's actually kind of difficult, or at least it'll actually take you kind of a long time to finish. So some of these tasks are easy, like buying the gemology table and collecting crystals, but as you go up further in this, it wants you to start charging jewelry, it has you planting a crystal seed, then it wants you to grow a magnificent crystal tree. So you have to wait for the crystal tree to grow and evolve it into magnificent quality. I'll show you that in a minute, but it's not easy to do. It also wants you to make 5 pieces of excellent jewelry and complete crafting gemstones or jewelry 10 times while focused. So a little pro tip for you, if you're gonna play with this pack, maybe make your sim a genius because they'll be focused more often just randomly. And you do benefit a lot with this from your sim being in a focused mood. But then the final parts, it wants you to cut a gemstone valued at 2,500 simoleons, achieve level 10 of the skill, and summon the Grim Reaper with the new jewelry. To get started, you're gonna wanna buy 2 items, the gemology table and also the crystal grid. The crystal grid is pretty cheap. All you gotta do is put it outside, and this is how you charge the gemstones. So you're gonna leave this like on your back porch and charge gems overnight there. And these 2 items combined are where all of the pack gameplay lies. It's really easy to start because you don't actually need to have any crystals because you can buy most of them just from this menu. You can just select whatever you'd like off the table and then start crafting it. It works kind of like cooking, where if you don't have the spinach, it just uses it anyway and then charges you for it. You do need to have the crystals yourself for all of the rare ones, so you can't just buy the jet and summon Grim straight away. You have to find it yourself, but most of them can be purchased. And of course, as you might expect, all of these rare ones have the best charges to them, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. So you've got 3 options on the table. You can cut gemstones, design jewelry, or design random jewelry. When you design jewelry, you can fully customize it. You pick a design style, a metal, and a crystal all separately. So with this, you can customize all of the color schemes and how it appears. So if I want to make this necklace, I can change the color, I can make it be kind of golden, I can have an amethyst in the middle. I've got the amethyst already, so that's free. I don't have the pyrite, and I have to pay 500 just for the necklace. But then your sim starts crafting it. Mine's gonna go kind of fast because she does have the skill maxed already, and please just ignore the fact that Grim Reaper's right there. I forgot he was standing there. Don't worry about that. We'll get into that too. But once you finish that item, you can choose to sell it. You can choose to wear it with your current outfit or with all of your outfits. If you finish the aspiration, you can absorb energy from a charged item. This one's not charged yet, so we can't. We could charge it though, or we could list it on Plopsy if we so desired. I want to show you what it looks like when you put the necklaces on. Right now, she's wearing one of those necklaces that you can craft, but this is how that necklace would look once you're wearing it. And there's almost endless combinations here because you can use any of the metals with any of the crystals to make that item. It's almost a little overwhelming looking at all of the different types of jewelry that you can craft. And obviously, as you level up, you're unlocking more and more of these. The crystals are a little bit more important than just color scheme because each crystal has a different bonus when it's charged, but I'll get to that in a minute. I want to quickly show you what happens when you design random jewelry. So this is kind of a fun option that takes away the overwhelming nature of having to customize everything fully. It just has your sim randomly select a combination and then make it themselves. It costs 300 simoleons every time, and you might get scammed a little bit by this because it might pick stuff that wouldn't add up to 300 simoleons. This one is worth 356, so it's not too bad. So it just randomly gave me a delicate necklace made of baconite, but it'll give you something different each time, which I found really helpful when I was playing like Rags to Riches because I was just trying to build a skill. I didn't care what I was making. I just wanted to sell it. And I think that you can get lucky sometimes and get some kind of expensive materials for a cheaper price. I can't really tell if it's more or less financially beneficial. This one's kind of a cheap one, but I've been selling all of these in a yard sale with a markup, so I've been getting like thousands of simoleons each time for the more expensive ones, so the extra couple hundred you lose doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And on this table, you can also cut gemstones. So with this, there's 11 designs that you can choose from, ranging from like cute decorative ones, literal seeds that you can plant in the ground and also cute gnomes that you can decorate with. And just like with the jewelry, you pick a cut and then you pick a crystal and then your sim will make it. I've got a couple of them on display over here in my cabinets right now. And obviously you unlock new different cuts as you're leveling up and progressing. You can charge both the jewelry and the gemstones, but I found the gemstones specifically when charged are unbelievably helpful. Look at this creepy one. I'm gonna use this so I can summon the Grim Reaper. But you can take that item and just place it down on your charging mat. Okay, I've already got one in there. And when you leave this out overnight, it'll fully charge. And this one, the jet, when charged, can summon the Grim Reaper at will and will also make it so your sim will always succeed when pleading for someone's life. There is a huge variety of different charges that you can get, ranging from things like affecting school and work performances, making your sim more likely to give birth to twins. They can make you gain skills faster. They can make your bad moodlets fade faster. I think the best one by far is this plum bite. This makes your sim's needs increase slowly over time. You have no idea just how effective this is. As long as the crystal is out and fully charged like this one, anyone in the general vicinity will have their needs immediately start going up. So she came here and stood closer to it. Look, all of her needs are increasing. So if you had this just placed on your table, you could basically work on cutting gems for 2 days straight and never have to sleep. This is gonna change the game for challenges. Imagine like putting this in your sim's art studio and having them paint for 2 days straight, and you can combine them. So I could make a different gem that has like creative skill gain and just have them both sat next to me while I work. It's almost too good. It's like almost too overpowered. This one in particular kind of reminds me of the Sims 3 store. Do you remember that little playpen for toddlers? Because when your Sims were in that playpen, they were constantly gaining slight needs, but it was way slower than this is. Like, this is too good. So every night from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., it starts charging. You can see now that it's nighttime, this thing has started to glow, and I can see it's got 6 hours until it's fully charged. One kind of cool detail is that the charging is affected by the moon phases. So on a new moon, it charges slower, and on a full moon, it charges faster. Right now, it's gonna take about 6 hours until this one is fully charged. And once it's fully charged, it lasts 2 days, 48 hours of all of those bonuses. It works the same way for jewelry. You can charge any jewelry like that too, just by dragging an item onto the charging thing. And I think you can put 7 on here at once. But I found that the gemstones are way better than jewelry because more than one sim can be affected by it. The problem is this is stationary and the jewelry comes with you no matter where you go. And once the bonus runs out, you can just put it back and recharge it and go again. It doesn't like run out of uses. You can just keep using the same thing over and over again. I've been using this thing for like 2 weeks. It is so helpful. There's also some interesting cross-pack compatibility. Like this one makes your Sim's alien powers recharge faster. This one comes from Jungle Adventure, and if you cut and charge this, it makes your Sim excavating in Selva Dorada unearth rarer and more valuable artifacts. A couple of them also affect burnout from growing together and make it like a little bit less bad. It's actually really easy to get and use this charging feature, like almost too easy considering how powerful some of the perks are. I can see myself using this all the time, kind of like how I use Tiny Living a lot when I'm first starting a save to get all of those bonus perks from the tiny home. These bonus perks are so customizable and almost too good to pass up, so I'm definitely gonna have a lot of my Sims, especially in challenges, be using these. You can also gift jewelry to anybody. You can just click on it in your inventory and then give it to a Sim who is nearby. And this is pretty cute because they'll immediately put it on when you give it to them. And it seems like it usually goes over pretty well. They typically tend to like it. That was the same necklace in just a different color, but you can give this to like any townie. So you could give Nancy Landgrab an ugly bracelet if you wanted to, or, you know, try and give her some nicer earrings or something. And probably the best feature revolving around the gifting of jewelry is that you can propose with rings that you have crafted. These two Sims are already engaged because I proposed to her with this sapphire ring that I made, and that is hands down one of my favorite things they've added in the pack. I just know that almost always from now on, I'm gonna have my Sims making the rings before they propose. I'm kind of bad about my married and engaged Sims actually wearing rings, and maybe that's because I don't really wear rings in real life either. But now that I can make one, I've got more reason to actually use it, and I love that you can customize the colors and stuff. Just in general, the idea of gifting jewelry is really exciting to me as a person who likes to play with Lego legacy challenges. I'm having these visions of like a family heirloom necklace or something and like passing it down between generations of my legacy. I kind of do that right now with like random other collectibles. I literally have a piece of horse poop in my display cabinet in my Not So Berry challenge right now, but I consider that piece of horse poop to be an heirloom. And now with the jewelry pack, we can literally make heirlooms that are actually reasonable and not gross and smelly. Also, I always like to encourage people to go through and read some of the object descriptions when you buy a new pack. They're often really funny and they sometimes contain like random bits of lore and stuff. Obviously, I showed you the Stanley reference, but there's also a bunch of pop culture references within all of the jewelry descriptions. Just for example, this delicate bracelet says, yes, it's cool you said all that. Yes, it's chill, they're in your head. So it's referencing Taylor Swift lyrics from her song Delicate. Even this one, this mystical bracelet, is beloved by the Charm family in Glimmerbrook, apparently. This one just says Morgan Ember called, they want this ring. So it's not like lore, but it's kind of a cute reference to another pack. The last major gameplay thing is the crystal tree. So this is kind of a special object. You can use this to grow and harvest extra crystals. This is what it looks like when it's fully grown, and when it's ready to be harvested, you can see like random crystals popping up within the leaves. The more evolved this tree is, the rarer the crystals that you'll get from it. This one is magnificent quality, so we're gonna get some pretty good stuff in there. So I just got 6 extra crystals from that. And to make this tree, you have to first craft the gemstone on this table. It's literally a seed-shaped gemstone, and you can plant this in the ground. It works just like any of the other ones. You just pick the seed shape, and then you just bring it outside and bury it. And annoyingly, it takes a full week in-game for it to grow. So next Thursday at 6 a.m., it'll pop up out of the ground and be fully grown. And then every 24 hours, it replenishes with fresh crystals after that. I'm a little bit annoyed at just how long it takes to grow. I think 7 days is kind of long, especially because there isn't any indication in-game of like how long you have left or how long it's been. You just kind of have to wait. Oh, and speaking of waiting, you can make a lot of money from this yard sale table. You just have to be prepared to spend all day just standing here. But you can start a yard sale and mark up the prices really high, and Sims will come and buy your jewelry and you're gonna get rich quick. This isn't really a new feature because it works just like any of the other yard sales, but you can make a lot of money from this, clearly. Overall, I think the gameplay from this pack is really solid. I probably shouldn't even admit this, but I think I would have been happy if this pack was literally just the jewelry customization. I never imagined that we would have also gotten all of the charging features and special powers. So that is a huge addition that makes this pack feel a lot more worthwhile. I realize it sounds bad to be like, I would have bought the pack if it had half as much stuff, but like genuinely, I think that compared to the earliest stuff packs too, this one still would have been good even if it didn't have the charging. And the charging is really what makes the whole thing. Like the special effects are the best part, but that just about covers everything that comes in this pack. So to collect my final thoughts, I think that this is a good example of the Sims team really knowing their audience. Like the overlap between people who are interested in crystals and people who like The Sims is pretty big. I felt this way about Horse Ranch too, with the Horse Girl and Simmer overlap, but I guess I just feel like this pack makes a lot of sense. In fact, this is the exact kind of thing that I'm looking for in a stuff pack. In an ideal world, any new skill they add to The Sims 4 would be this versatile, because you could use this as your job and make all of your money making jewelry. It could be a side hobby just as like a thing you do for fun. It could be a thing to decorate your house. You could just do it because you want a wedding ring. You could do it because you want special powers. Like there's so many reasons and different ways to incorporate this into your game. And even at like a small starting level, it's still really useful. You don't need to be a high skill to make this be good for you. And I guess this one's kind of weird because I never expected them to make a whole crystal and jewelry pack, but now that we have it, I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of perfect for The Sims 4. I have been begging for more hobbies and crafts for a while now. I have been going on and on about wanting more crafty packs. Specifically, I want to see a pottery skill added. My big dream is for a pottery making pottery wheel pack. And now that they've done this with this UI and this customization, I feel like maybe that could be kind of possible. They could totally do a thing that works in a similar way with pottery instead, but that's beside the point. This video is about crystals, not pots. This pack truly has an unbelievable level of customization. We do not have anything like this in the game, and this is probably the closest we'll ever get in The Sims 4 to being able to pick swatch parts separately. A lot of us have been saying for years how great it would be to pick like the bed frame and the bed spread separate, but that's exactly what you can do here with the jewelry, because you can pick the metal and the setting and the stone all separate. I really had a ton of fun playing with this pack, and honestly, I can see myself using it a lot in the future. It's just not gonna be hard to incorporate this into my regular games. Honestly, it's making me feel really nostalgic for The Sims 3, because I would always have my Sims get a dog, train the dog to hunt, have it go out and find me crystals, and then I would come back and cut them in that weird gem cutting machine from that Supernatural pack. This is the gem cutting machine, but like way, way, way better. And if I can make charge stuff that is this powerful, this easily, like why wouldn't I take advantage of that, you know? I also think that this pack will tie in really well with what we already have, specifically for spellcasters and werewolves and stuff. Like, it's just gonna match and fit the vibes so well. And that's best case scenario. You want your packs to work together nicely. When I'm making videos like this and reviewing Sims packs, I always like to compare them to the other packs in the category and see if they hold up. And stuff packs are so weird because like 90% of them are actually bad. The earliest stuff packs are like genuinely terrible and not worth the money, but the most recent 3 stuff packs have been pretty good. I've been saying for years now that Paranormal is the best of the stuff packs just because of the sheer amount of content that it comes with, and I still think that Paranormal has better builds and cast items, but the gameplay here in Crystal Creations is like 10 times more useful. I never ever play with ghost hunting, but I do think I'm gonna use this a lot, so I don't think I can sit here and say that Paranormal is a better pack just because it has a cuter couch. In reality, if we're being honest, I think that Crystal Creations is truly one of the best out of all of the stuff packs. I haven't personally experienced any glitches or issues like that, but that does not mean they don't exist. I wouldn't be surprised if they pop up when the pack releases. The difficulty of early access periods like this is I'm just me, so I don't know what everybody else has been dealing with until after I post this video, but I haven't seen any problems personally. I do think that the problems that I did have are more because of a lack of understanding on my part. The main thing was that I had a crystal that was supposed to make my sim not die, but then he ate the cow plant and died anyway. So I don't know if there's like specific circumstances that you can't die in, like maybe you won't die from an emotional death or something. I just don't really know how it works and there isn't a lot of information, but that could have been user error because I basically forced him to die by eating the cow plant cake twice as opposed to him dying randomly like in an accident. Oh, and speaking of dying, everyone was very excited to see that you can summon the Grim Reaper with this pack. This is kind of fun because now you can be his friend. Earlier in the video, I charged up this crystal so that I could use it to summon Grim. I'm gonna come and do that now. That's a good thing to keep on you because you will always succeed when pleading for someone's life if you have this thing charged up, and that's gonna be kind of helpful. In case of emergency, it wouldn't hurt to have. So all you do is like wave your hands and then all of a sudden Grim starts walking down the street. He spawns like all the way over here for some reason, which is kind of weird, but you can summon him at any time. And I guess if you so desired, you could romance him as well. I mean, I guess this is my shot. It makes it 10 times easier to date the Grim Reaper when you don't have to kill someone first to see him. I personally don't really need to summon the Grim Reaper because he's usually here often enough anyway in my saves, but it is a fun feature. Grim is one of those characters that you might not see very often depending on how you play the game, so it's kind of cute to make him more accessible to more people. Although I don't know if cute is the right word given he is literally death, but whatever. So saying all of that, I think that for a stuff pack, this one is pretty good. I feel confident in recommending it to you, especially over a lot of the older stuff packs. If you're gonna buy one stuff pack, please do not get like luxury party stuff over this one. If you have $10, get one of the 3 most recent packs. I don't know which one you'll prefer the most, but solidly, I think that Home Chef Hustle, Paranormal, and now this Crystal Creations are all genuinely good and have about equal amounts of content. So it really comes down to what you think is the best and what you'll use the most often. Kind of to recap, I think that CAS is kind of weak. There's not a ton of options in CAS. There's a ton of jewelry, but you can't get it in CAS. You can only get it in game. And because there's like 20,000 total combos, they would never make a cheat for it to be in CAS because it's just not possible. Build mode is cute, but it's not giant, and a lot of the standout items are kind of random, but it has that fantastic bookcase and fantastic plant, and the gameplay is just unbelievable. So much customization and so many like cheats almost because of the special powers the crystals have. I think you'll have a lot of fun diving in and exploring to see all of the different special combinations that you can make. I am giving it an official lilsimsie stamp of approval. I think that it's probably one of my top 3 maybe even top 2 stuff packs. I think I'd put Home Chef Hustle and this one just about tied, but honestly, this one might win out just because the gameplay I think is cooler. I love a pizza oven, but like this one has needs cheats basically, and it's not cheating because it's in the game. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I really hope that you found it helpful. My goal is to give you all of the information possible so that you can make a decision for yourself on whether or not you think it's worth buying, and I really did my best to give you those tools. I am gonna be live on Twitch later today playing with this pack some more, so hopefully I can answer some questions that you have and show you some more content over there. My name is just lilsimsie on Twitch, and I'll link it down below. And I'm also gonna post a ton of videos with this pack here on YouTube this week, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss them. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow. Okay, bye everybody. I'm really curious to know in the comments, what is your favorite part of the pack that you've seen so far? And also maybe what's your least favorite part of the pack? Let's talk about it in the comments.